Today is about slope. Chapter 13.6, we're dealing with slope. Slopes are really easy, so you guys are going to do great on this one. I want you guys to first start off with just the definition of what slope is. There's a lot of definitions. It's just the steepness of that line. Like if you're going to go to the slopes, go skiing, you're going to say how steep is the mountain, how tall or whatever is the mountain, and it's just the steepness of that line. So for example, slope is just rise over the run, just how much it rises compared to how much it runs. It's the change in the y values, that's the up and down values, compared to the change in the x values, that's the right and left values, right? Or you could say slope is the letter m, because when we're dealing with y equals mx plus b, that equation, slope-intercept form, the letter m is your slope. And that's this is the actual mathematical definition for slope. It says y sub 2 minus y sub 1 is equal to over x sub 2 minus x sub 1, and that is the difference of the y values over the difference of the x values. It's just saying the change in the y or the change in the x, or how much does it go up and down, that's the y, and how much does it go side to side, that's the x. So let's go ahead and try some of this stuff. Example number 1 on page 590. If I got a point here, we'll call it point sub 1, and a point up here, point sub 2. Then what we're going to do is say, how do you get from point 1 to point 2? You have to rise up, and you have to go over and run over. So to rise up, you got to go up 6, and you got to go over 5. So your slope would be 6 over 5. It would be rising up 6, running over 5, right? So I want you guys to go ahead and check the skill check problem number 1 on page 590. Go ahead and pause the video, you do the problem, and then we'll check our work. Okay, here's the answer. 2/3! Hopefully you guys got 2/3. That means it went rising up 2 and over running 3. Let's continue on. Example number 2. We're on page 591, class. So this time, I'm giving you a point here, point sub 1 and point sub 2. How do I go down? Right? Because it's not rising, it's going down. You're dropping and you're running over. So in this case, you're going down 4. You're dropping down 4. So what you're going to do is you're going to label that as a negative 4 because you're dropping down 4. So you're going to go negative 4 and you're going to go to the right 6. That means you're going to go over 6. So the rise isn't positive, it's negative 4, and the run is a positive 6. So it's negative 4 over 6, which reduces down to negative 2/3, which means you're going to go down 2 and over 3, down 2 and over 3. It's a slope going down. Negative slopes go down, positive slopes go up. Go ahead and do skill check number 2 on page 591. We'll wait. You pause it. Okay, your answer should be negative 6/5, meaning you're going to go down 6 and you're going to go over to the right 5. Keep it up. On to example number 4. Page 592 says, find the slope between these 2 points. So we're given a point at negative 2, 4, which I put right there, and a point at 3, negative 3, which I put right there. Now, the interesting thing is you don't have to label one point over the other point. You could say, for example, I'm going to call that my first point and that my second point. Or you could do it vice versa. It doesn't matter. But label one of them your first point. So I put point sub 1, and so that's my first x, my first y. And then I said, that's my second point, which is going to be my second x and second y. So just label one of the points point 1 and label the other point point 2, and then this formula will always work. So then what you do is you say, my slope formula says, that we learned at the very beginning of the lesson, is y sub 2, my second y, minus y sub 1, which is my first y, over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. So what's my y sub 2? That is, what's my second y value? So if I went to my second point and I looked at my y sub 2 value, my second y value is 4. So that would be a 4 that I plug in here. My first y value is over here. My first point, it's negative 3. Now, just be very careful that you're doing 4 minus your negative 3 because you're subtracting it, and if there's negatives, that is a negative negative, so you're going to have to do make that positive. 4, take away a negative 3 on the top is 4 plus 3, like a 7. And on the bottom, a negative 2 minus 3, that's your x values, you're going to get a negative 5. Now, that's going to be a 7 over a negative 5, and negatives always float to the top, so that's going to be a negative 7/5. What that means is I went from my point, and I went down 7, and I went over 5, right? Down 7, over 5, that's the slope, that's the steepness. Going down, that's what's negative. And so go ahead and try your skills practice check on page 592. Do example number 3, skills practice, go. And here goes the answers. The slope of number 1 is negative 2, and the slope of problem 2 is 2/7. That's going to be going rising up 2 and over 7. Now, the very last thing I want to mention to you is I will also link to a video in here of my algebra classes doing slope. So maybe if you want a little extra practice, you can go watch that video. It's a good one. All right, have fun with the homework. Landon out.